This video is going to be my first look at some of the ridiculous plays that Lamar Jackson turned in the second half of the Ravens' 41-38 win over the Bengals. The offense was put up against the wall multiple times by a defense that faltered pretty much throughout the second and third quarter. We'll get to a little bit more of that in some videos later this week. This one's going to focus on the heroics that Lamar turned in, the multitude of ways that he impacted the game, and then finally the closer, Derrick Henry, damn near taking his first carry in overtime to the house. It's right started with the film. We're going to pick it up third quarter where it's 24-14 Bengals. Ravens first possession of the second half, I believe. Lamar hits Charlie Kolar up the right hash. This is a designed play, and I think the Ravens have overloaded to the boundary intentionally. Out of 22 personnel, you can see that you've got Likely, Kolar, and Ricard all next to each other. Derrick Henry, in my opinion, is bait here. They're using him to get the Bengals to kind of overload from a personnel standpoint. So watch who's on the field. You've got three inside linebackers here, a fourth inside linebacker. The Bengals have really gone to a heavy defensive personnel look, and as a result, to the boundary, Kolar and Ricard are running separate verticals. Von Bell really got exposed a couple of times in this game yesterday. Really, it's so crazy. The Bengals' run defense was better for large portions of the game than their pass defense. We really shredded them. What's happening to some of their DBs and corners, I don't know how to explain. I mean, of course, Dax Hill getting hurt is a big deal. CTB is someone who I thought incredibly highly of as recently as last year. So here's Pratt into the boundary. Two inside linebackers here, a fourth inside linebacker, down to the field. Lamar is throwing it over the top of Von Bell. You have two separate verticals with nice separation from a horizontal standpoint in Ricard and Kolar. Kolar is paying dividends. I mean, the guy is blocking well at the point of attack, making plays here, in this case, down the field. Beautiful ball by Lamar. I thought it was difficult for him and Burrow to throw the ball down the field sometimes yesterday because of the wind, but they both handled it well. We scored on a short touchdown pass on that drive to get within 24-21, and then the Bengals score quickly themselves. 31-21 now. We're early fourth quarter. This is the next time that Lamar got the football back. This is iconic. This type of effort, I don't know how it doesn't. I'm guessing that it did energize this sideline here. Don't really see much reaction. I'm not being judgmental towards it, but spinning, taking so much contact, and playing with incredible effort, I think is the type of thing that we need Lamar to do sometimes in these moments where other people, he can step up. And Derrick Henry, those are the two guys. I think it's I think in our Discord, Stacy Van Diver and a couple of other guys call them Shaq and Kobe, and with obviously Derrick Henry being Shaq and Lamar being Kobe. I see the comparison because Lamar can do so many things in such a versatile fashion to really frustrate and thwart everything you do on defense. You can see there's pressure here. One of the few times Hendrickson, I thought, had an opportunity to make a play. Stanley, I'll do a standalone video, Stanley versus Hendrickson in pass pro situations. I thought Stanley did a great job. In any case, Lamar spinning out. I think there's five guys who make contact with him. The Bengals and pretty much most teams across the NFL really have to be frustrated when he makes plays like this. This was after a hold on Falele, of course, created a 1st and 20. And Lamar is able to scramble for 13 yards. I think it was Brady a couple of weeks ago said that he's an eraser. He can erase those first and long or second and long situations. So still same possession, fourth quarter, 2 plays later, Zay Flowers tore him up. Zay Flowers gave these guys difficulty throughout. I don't think that the matchup of Zay Flowers versus whoever was going to be changed if Dax Hill is on the field. I do think that Dax Hill has played the best out of their DBs so far this year. Hendrickson trying to go to an inside move, and Stanley just stays with him and presses him in this direction to keep him away from Lamar, number one. Number two, Flowers is bringing this route back across the field behind Likely. So it's almost kind of like Likely is vacating a lane there for Lamar. You can see that Battle has carried Likely. And Lamar pump fakes once and then throws the football. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see how accurate the throw is, despite him pump faking. When I watch the All-22, I'm kind of like, throw it. Why do we pump fake? But for whatever reason, he thinks he needs to. Again, I think Hendrickson's going to an inside move. Stanley's just trying to fight to get his head in front of that shoulder. stay with him, win when you lose. He didn't lose there, but win when you lose leverage. And the throw is exquisite, if you ask me. Lamar was absolutely on fire when we went down by 10 all three times. There was a level that he reached. There's a ceiling that he has. I guess you'd have to say Patrick Mahomes has that ceiling, and Mahomes has certainly done it in big games. Lamar has not consistently yet. Josh Allen will be another one. I'm trying to think of another quarterback who's playing right now that can reach the heights that Lamar did yesterday on those three possessions when we're down by 10 each time. I just don't. The resilience that he displayed, pretty ridiculous. Same possession, still fourth quarter, about 10 and a half minutes left. Really nice design play. Unfortunately, a low ball by Lamar. I think he pulls the string a little bit because he's not sure what the DB is going to do. So it's 21. I love this formation. It's 21 personnel. Ricard, Henry were on the same side, and then we motion Henry across. We catch the Bengals in this kind of nickel blitz, so they end up being basically a man down up there to the field. So what I mean is there's three routes, Henry, Andrews, Bateman, and there's only two guys to cover them. Just poor coverage concept by the Bengals. Kind of shocking, but I'm showing it to you and taking and explaining it at length to let you know some of the same shit that happens to the Ravens defense happens to others as well, obviously. Lamar read 22, Geno Stone. Geno Stone checks up on Henry, so we hit the wheel, and again, the ball is underthrown. I think he pulls the string a little bit too much. Geno going with Derrick Henry. He thinks that there's going to be some type of roll here in the backfield. Von Bell, guess what? Eyes on the quarterback. I don't know, man. Increasingly, I see NFL defenses, including the Ravens, just undisciplined with their eyes, looking at the quarterback too damn much and being manipulated and put out of position. In this case, it's Von Bell. Ends up being an empty set after the motion by Henry, and you can see Lamar is all over it. Easy read, 3-on-2. Certainly should have been a touchdown. Lamar was pissed off about it thereafter. We closed to 31-28 with a little over 9, maybe 9:20 left on this designed play action to Kolar. This is a tight throw. Yeah, it's short. It's only a two-yard throw. You've got Ricard, Henry, and then Kolar, so 21 personnel. I love the formation. I love it. The only thing I don't love about it is if we're going to run to this side, we don't have our receivers on here that are our best blockers, particularly if we're going to deal with an edge defender or something like that. It's play action. Kolar fighting underneath, almost like a mesh look about it between Bateman and Kolar. Lamar throws it into the gut, almost even a little bit lower onto the right hip of Kolar before Pratt can close down and get there. That touchdown, like I said, pulls us to within 31-21. And then going to move forward here to talk about the play. Lamar's had so many iconic plays in his career. I don't know where this one ranks. It's pretty damn high. He's probably got 10 like this that could be the best play he's ever turned in. Look, Sam Hubbard played great on Sunday. Sam Hubbard caused us problems everywhere. The fumble actually kind of works against Roger Rosengarten from the standpoint of him trying to pass pro Sam Hubbard. I thought he did a good job for much of the day. Lamar ends up stiff-arming Hubbard, not once, but twice. It's almost a little bit of karma. I could be wrong, guys. I think this is where the fumble happened in 2022. I might be wrong. I think it was that end zone. Feel free to correct me in the comment section. I don't know if the NFL puts the camera in the same location every time. I felt like we had the exact same downward angle of the camera. I guess it'd be from more so those last two arrows. I felt like we had the exact same view of Tyler Huntley's fumble and the 99-yard strip return by Hubbard, who now gets stiff-armed not once, but twice. The strength to be able to do that and hold the football with one hand, it's laughable, if you ask me. I firmly believe that there will be more athletic, dual-threat quarterbacks who succeed in the NFL. I think the NFL is late to the party. At this point, certain teams have understand the idea. You've got Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, I think will qualify as well. Jaden Daniels, who we'll face next week, is a spectacular dual-threat quarterback. There won't be another Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of one from his ability to do some of these things. And then how does he make this happen? You got Geno Stone here, two other defenders, likely with his hand up in the air, ends up catching the ball in almost the exact same spot. You don't see it here. as his touchdown catch that was overruled, of course, against the Chiefs in Week 1. You could see Hubbard is just looking at the sideline, and he's a great player. Like, I know that Ravens fans probably don't like the dude because of the fumble return, but I think he's an Ohio guy. He's played well for that franchise, and for this to happen to him is just, it's a historic play. And the crazy thing is it only brought us to 38-35. Ridiculous that we have that guy on our team. It's a cheat code. And then the other part of the duo that I think is going to be legendary or has the opportunity to do so is Derrick Henry. Shut down or slowed down at minimum for most of the day by a Bengals defense that played at their maximum potential. We're in 22 personnel again, and this time the Bengals are not in that heavy 4 inside linebacker look that I described earlier. I want to talk about Tylan Wallace a little bit here. We've got Likely and Kolar on the field as the 2 tight ends. Ricard is in at fullback. The only receiver is oftentimes Nelson Aguilar. Wallace played very well yesterday. He's supposed to pin down on the defensive end Hendrickson. Not going to happen. Hendrickson basically just slaps him off of him. I think bad angle by Wallace. But the effort to then get involved and then get back out onto CTB. We have the wrong end zone angle here, but you'll get an idea of how he just keeps playing. I think there's something to be said for that as it relates to this Ravens team. For me, maybe not you, I was incredibly frustrated watching this defense yesterday. But this effort right here might be what, at this point in time, we should hold on to as Ravens fans and say, this is who we are, even when we make mistakes. And I think we take a bad step. We're trying to cut him off almost instead of pin Hendrickson down, and if Hendrickson gets upfield, so be it. Then Derrick Henry and Ricard are going to get outside of him, and Hendrickson's going to be in chase. You can lose that block on the top side. You can lose that block on the underside. You can't lose it on the top side like Wallace did. But again, I think this is probably what we should focus on, myself included, is the fact that even when you make a mistake in the middle of a play, stay with it from an effort standpoint. Ricard picks up Hendrickson, which I think was Wallace's assignment, and then Wallace goes and gets the corner, which was Ricard's assignment, in my opinion. Ends up being, I think, a 51-yard run by Henry. I thought he was gone. These guys don't tackle well in the secondary. Geno Stone kind of played above his head from a tackling standpoint yesterday, I thought. I feel comfortable saying that I like Geno Stone, but the film that was not complimentary of him from a tackling standpoint prior to yesterday. So this is a base 3-4 look. They have put a 3 technique away from the tight end wing, Kolar and Likely. So what that allows us to do is a great job by Macari. This starts here, guys. Macari with the reach on the 3 technique. Stanley gets the frontside inside linebacker. Hendrickson and the corner CTB get handled by Ricard and Tylan Wallace, like I talked about. And then Von Bell, another poor run fit by him. I think he's had a great career in Cincinnati. He's still a very good player. In an interception last week against Carolina. The film coming into this game of him and run fits and Geno Stone was very poor. And on this play, it came back to haunt them. I think that you've got spectacular effort, despite poor execution initially by Tylan Wallace, a run blocking scheme that gets executed by Macari, Stanley. I think it goes without saying that we assume Linderbaum is going to do his job and reach a 0 technique nose. We won this game because of heroics by Lamar, incredible effort by multiple other guys, including Tylan Wallace and Pat Ricard. It's a beautiful win on Monday to think about. Not fun yesterday at all. It gave me a headache, for real. It was so crazy because it was enjoyable, exhilarating to watch Lamar play football when we were down by 10. And then the Bengals would get the ball back. It seemed like they scored in an instant. I know they only had one 70-yard touchdown to Jamar Chase, but it seemed like there were 3. It's fun to watch the offense now in isolation and allows me, and maybe hopefully you, to have a little bit more of a positive feeling about the game because you can only watch the offense consecutively. And those guys, Lamar, Derrick Henry, and then also moving down the ladder, some of the more complimentary players did their jobs in key moments and just out-executed and played more physical than the Bengals defense as the game went on. From a Cincinnati standpoint, their defense played, I think, about as well as they can play against our offense. Absent turnovers, and I mean 2+ turnovers, this is what happens again when they come to Baltimore from the standpoint of how many yards we get and so many players being involved. Zay Flowers, 7 catches, 100 yards. Derrick Henry, I think, finished with 96 yards or 92 yards on the ground. Certainly slowed down for most of the day. Lamar, ridiculous. 4 touchdowns, iconic stiff arm of Sam Hubbard, finding Isaiah Likely. In that moment, it's just a legendary play, and it's just one of dozens that he's put forth in his career. And unfortunately for Cincinnati, a whole bunch of them have been against the Bengals. Crazy game. Let me know how you feel on Monday morning watching the film, if you do watch film like I do, or watching this film study video, I guess, about the team. It certainly is a lot more positive feeling to see the effort by some of the guys on offense. I've already started watching the defense film, and I'll have a film study video about Marlon Humphrey, Matabike, and Wiggins and their clutch plays late in the fourth quarter that comes out around lunchtime. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry being the stars of the show when it mattered the most, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.